Hello everybody, Lazer for Life here, bringing us a brand new video, and today we have an archetype analysis of Meklord. Meklord is a really interesting deck to me. I really like the deck. It's like not the best thing in the world, but it's also a really cool one, and I feel like it gets a bad rap, mostly because, well, 90% of the deck is pretty bad, I'll be honest. At least it was. With some new support, the deck has been a lot better. It still needs some work, but however, I feel like with another card or two, especially like a really good field spell, the deck is going to be really good in the future if they ever get more support. Konami, please. Anyway, let's get on with it and start talking about them. So what the heck is Meklord? And a lot of you guys probably don't know because nobody really plays this deck. Well, the deck is from the anime in 5Ds, and it was built as an anti-synchro deck. The whole thing about it is that the bad guys from ArcV hate synchros. They're from a future where like synchros led to the destruction of the world or something. It's weird. And so they come back in time with these cards that are made specifically to counter synchro summoning. And that is what they do. That is their whole focus. That is even their focus with their new support. And I mean, how good Meklords are in a given format are totally dependent on how much synchros are being played, and even then they aren't particularly great at doing what they want to do, mostly because it's really only the boss monsters that are able to do it, and they don't have a lot of ways to fight through a lot of negation. But however, they do have some ways of building up some negation because they are very much a control focused deck. If you play this deck and you play a crap ton of hand traps, you're going to be able to actually have a pretty decent time trying to combat most decks out there. Except for like the tier 0, tier 1 high tier decks, you know what I mean? The bigger thing about it is that the deck is broken up into 3 sub archetypes in a way. You got the armies, who are like your little normal summonable dudes. They aren't particularly great in any particular situation, but however they do have some interesting fodder mechanics for the emperors. The Emperors are your main boss monsters. Whenever a monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, they get to special summon themselves. And then you also got the Astros. The Astros are like the big Emperors. Your true, like, boss monsters. Kinda. The first 2 from back in the day are garbage. The new one is really great. So, yeah. The deck is kind of weird with how it works, but however, they all have Meklord in the name, so they all benefit from their support. And it makes for a pretty interesting playstyle altogether. So let's get in with it. First up with Meklord Nucleus Infinity Core. Now this is actually the first of the cores to be released in the TCG OCG. And you might be wondering, what am I talking about with cores? Well, in the anime, the Meklord Emperors weren't actually a single card. They were 5 cards that were 5 individual monsters that made up the core Emperor. And they all had a core, and, well, obviously that was a stupid idea. So, with the real-life cards, they just made all the Emperors into one card. We finally got a core. We finally got one of the cores released. Kinda. This is a completely game original one, and seems to be the core for the Astros. This is Meklord Nucleus Infinity Core. It's a level 1 dark machine effect monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. The first time this card will be destroyed by battle, each turn it is not. That's like ripped right out of the anime for the cores. You can only use each of the following effects for Meklord and Nucleus Infinity Core once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you can add a Meklord spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Meklord Emperor from your hand or deck with a different attribute from the monsters you control, ignoring its summoning conditions. Also, for the rest of this turn, you can only declare an attack with 1 monster. So, right off the bat, this card is flat out amazing. It's a level 1 that you can just plop on the field and get your search effect for your spells and traps. And then, of course, there's a spell that searches out a monster, so you can kind of indirectly search any of your monsters with this card. In addition to that, if it dies by a card effect, you get to special summon any of your Emperors for free. That is really good. And if it does die by a card effect and you have another Emperor in your hand, you can special summon that in addition to the one that you're summoning off of Infinity Core. Granted, you do get the weirds. You got to be careful about that because the Emperors are like Malefics, where at least 2 of them say, oh, your other monsters can't attack, only this one can. Which is very stupid. I'm just going to be straight up honest with that. It's very stupid. So you got to be careful about which Emperors you summon off of that. And Of course, it has that battle protection, so if you brick real hard and you don't really have a way to be able to do anything, you can set it. I don't recommend that, obviously, but hey, it is something there. Or you can like special summon it in defense, that'd be the preferred option. But however, there are ways to destroy it for your own way, and well, get a free Emperor. So really good card all around, play 3 of this. This is clearly one of the newer cards, not one of the older ones. Next up, we're going into the army. Meklord, Army of Skiel. He's a wind, level 4, machine effect monster, 1200 attack, 1000 defense. He gains 200 attack for each Meklord on the field, except for, well, himself. And when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Meklord army monster from your deck. Now, I'm going to be honest, I really like this card. I really like Army of Skiel. I don't know why, his art looks cool. And he's got a pretty decent effect. Honestly, probably one of the best of the armies, not counting the new one. But however, Army of Skiel, pretty decent card, gets 200 attack for all your armies. It's something that like all the original armies have, where they gain attack power for all your dudes that you have on the field except themselves, because you're building up an army, and the more army you have, the stronger they get. So there's that. And then of course he floats into your other armies, so you can crash him into something to get other dudes, or back in the day you could set him and again just get your stuff going. And of course the idea is that you are able to float with him until you can destroy one of your dudes by a card effect, and then you summon the Emperor out from your hand. Of course, you won't get the effect of Skiel to special summon, but hey, he's still pretty good. That being said, he's only really good by comparison. The armies are not particularly great, and they have not aged well in comparison to like the Emperors. The Emperors, I would say, have aged relatively well, barring the whole synchro thing. The armies, not so much. And you're mostly playing 3 of them out of, well, lack of options. Next up, we got Meklord, Army of Granul. Level 4, Earth, Machine Effect Monster, 1600 attack, 1200 defense. He has quite the angry face. And it gains 100 attack for each Meklord monster on the field, except this card. When this card is normal summon, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, have the target's attack until the end of the turn. This card is pretty cool and kind of helps show what the armies are meant to do, is that they're meant to be support fodder for your Emperors. You aren't really supposed to be attacking with them as much as you are supposed to be having them out, and they do stuff to help support the Emperors so the Emperors can get stuff. Like for instance, one of the Emperors has 2500 attack, your opponent has something that has 3k. Okay, cool, I have the Emperor out, normal summon the Army of Granul. Granul effect, half that monster attack, so that now my Emperor can run over it. And then, of course, because... God. So, it's pretty cool. It does help out. Not the greatest thing in the world. Really wish it had better effects. Konami, please release more armies. We need more. God, once we get to the new army, I think you guys will see just how much of a buff Konami could do to the armies. Granul, he's okay as a 2-of, just due to lack of other options. And then we got Meklord, Army of Lizel. He's a level 4, 1800, 0 attack. 1800 attack, 0 defense, machine effect monster, dark. This card gains 100 attack for each Meklord monster on the field, except this card. Once per turn, when another Meklord monster you control declares an attack on a defense position monster, you can activate this effect. During that battle, it gains piercing, which is pretty cool. It just is helpful for the Emperor to be able to actually get some damage in, which is just another thing. It's also the strongest of the armies, so it sticks around longer, but however, it's still not particularly great. It is nice to have that extra piercing though. The only issue is that, well, he doesn't do much else, and it's only once per turn. I really wish you could do it like every time, but oh well. And so that is the original 3 armies. And you might be wondering, well, why would I even want to play these in the first place? They're garbage, and you're right. They are garbage. But then we got Meklord Army Deployer Obligato, the new one. He's a level 4 light, machine effect, 1200 attack, 1800 defense. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. Destroy this card, and if you do, special summon 2 Meklord Army monsters from your deck in defense position, except a copy of himself. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except for the rest of this turn. Except machine monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. During the end phase of this turn, you can inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each Meklord monster you control. You can only use each effect of Meklord Army Deployer Obligato once per turn. Okay, so ignoring the random minuscule burn damage that I really don't understand why they put there, let's talk about that main thing there. Destroy this card. Special summon 2 armies from your deck with different names. Wait, no, it doesn't say different names. 2 Meklord Army monsters from your deck in defense position, except a copy of himself. And sure, you're locked into machines, but here's the thing. All the armies are level 4. So you can make Gear X. You can make the level 4, rank 4 train. You can go into some link plays. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. And on top of that, since he destroys himself, you can summon one of the emperors. So, oh, hey, Obligato effect, destroy himself. Special summon Skill and Weisel. Effective Weisel of the Emperor Weisel in hand, special summon himself. A rank exceeds the 2 level 4s into Gear Gain X, effective Gear Gain X, detach, starts out another Obligato so I can do the same thing next turn. This is really, really, really good for the deck. I just wish he had better targets. Like, oh my god, we need better targets, we need better armies. Like, please, Konami. But for what we got now, this is not half bad, and it is really, really good for the deck. I don't get the random burn, but hey, it's there and can help win games, kinda, I guess. I mean, you typically ping for 100, but hey, it's helpful, I guess. Next up, let's talk about the Emperors, starting off with Meklord Emperor Granul. Now, here's the weird thing about the Emperors, they're all level 1. He's a level 1 Earth machine effect monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by its own effect and cannot be special summoned by other ways. When a face-up monster you control is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card gains attack and defense equal to half your opponent's half your life points. Once per turn, you can target one synchro monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined attack of the monsters equipped to this card by this effect. You can target one of these equipped monsters, special summon that target to your field in defense position. So that's a lot of a text, but let's go ahead and talk about what he does. So basically, if one of your dudes gets destroyed by a card effect, you can flop him on the field. His attack is equal to half your life points. So you're at 8k, he goes to 4k. Pretty cool. Then, once per turn, you can target one of your opponent's synchro monsters, equip it onto him. He gets more attack based on whatever that equipped monster's attack power is. Don't need that extra attack because he's already at 4k. You just buffed him up to, like, I don't know, 7k because you stole your opponent's Boro load. Okay, cool. Effective Granul, special summon the Boro load on my side of the field. You know, that is really, really cool and makes Emperor Granul a really interesting monster all the way around. He's probably, like, my favorite of the Emperors, if I'm being completely honest. Just simply because he's a raw powerhouse and has the most versatility of the Emperors. That being said, let's talk about that synchro effect. The fact that this deck is anti-synchro and not anti-extra deck really hinders it in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It wasn't bad for its time when everybody was playing synchros. You could pretty much almost always guaranteed to be able to suck up something and get beefier monsters out. And that's cool and all, but we're not in the synchro era anymore. And heck, even whenever we do have a format where synchros are heavily used, like when the Adamanticators were like all around and everything, oftentimes those synchros don't stick around on the field for very long, or they have negation effects where they're either going to prevent you from summoning the Emperor, or they're going to negate the Emperor's effect to suck it up. So therefore, the Emperors aren't nearly as good as they used to be, and typically speaking, you're not going to be sucking up anything with them. And this deck, this is the biggest issue with the deck, in my opinion. They really need to release a field spell or something that lets it to where the Emperors can target any extra deck monster. Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Link, Pendulum monster summoned from the extra deck. I don't care. Anything from the extra deck they should be able to suck up, because that's the whole point of them, is being anti-extra deck. But at the time they were just anti-synchro, and it just really sucks nowadays. So yeah, this guy's really good, but he's also arguably not the, well, he's not the best Emperor, let's be honest. The best Emperor is going to be the last one we're going to talk about. And let's talk about the next one. Meklord Emperor Skill, in my personal opinion, the worst of the three, but oh boy. Okay, so he's got 2200 attack, 2200 defense. He's a wind, level 1, machine effect monster. Has the standard effect of where he cannot be special summoned except by his own effect. When a monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, he can special summon himself. Once per turn, you can target a synchro monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined attack of the equipped monsters to this. Once per turn, it doesn't say once per turn. You can send one monster you control that is equipped to this card. This card can attack your opponent directly this turn. Okay, so this guy, he's got the weakest stats most of the time. Yes, technically Granul does, but however, Granul typically will come out with more attack than this thing. And Skill just doesn't do much. Sure, you can attack directly, but however, it's not particularly great. Also, I totally skimmed over it. Other monsters you control cannot declare an attack. Okay, I skimmed over it right here. Other monsters you control cannot declare an attack. That is the biggest issue with both Skill and YgoAmino, because for some reason, they don't let other monsters attack. It's very, very stupid. The reason why Granule doesn't have that is because his effect is summoning out your opponent's monsters, so that he can just so you can basically keep calling for more backup, so you can attack with them. But Skill and YgoAmino, for whatever reason, prevent your opponent from, prevent your other monsters from attacking. It's so stupid. Like, why? I don't get it. I really don't get it. At least with the, like, Earthbounds. Oh, no. The Earthbounds don't even prevent your other monsters from attacking. It's, the Malefics. At least with the Malefics, it makes sense, because most of them are big, beefy monsters. Skill is not big, beefy. He is 2200, and he can only suck up one monster a turn. So, it's not good. It's not good. I don't like Skill. Some people want to play one of them because, well, it's Meklords, and, you know, if you want to play him as a one-of, sure, go ahead. I personally don't like playing him, period, so he's just okay. He's easily the worst Emperor, in my opinion. Then we got YgoAmino, who is the only Emperor to have meta relevance at any given point. And you'll see why here in a second. So he's a Dark Machine, level 1, 2500 attack, 2500 defense. He has a standard Meklord effect where, oh, if your dude dies, you can special summon it, yada yada yada. Other monsters you control cannot attack, yada yada yada. Once per turn, you can target a synchro monster to equip it, and then this card gains attack equal to the combined attack of the monsters you equip to it. So, you know, standard effects all around. His unique effect, though, is this. Once per turn during your first turn, when your opponent activates a spell card, you can negate that activation if you do destroy it. Just flat out, once per turn, negate a spell that your opponent tries to activate. I don't know why they randomly decided to give YgoAmino negation, but however, that makes him easily the best one right off the bat. Just that flat out spell card negation makes YgoAmino the main one you want to get out on turn 1, because you're going to be able to negate one of your opponent's spell cards. Obviously, you'd prefer to probably get out 2 so you can keep on negating more, but whenever it comes back to your turn, you're going to have to get rid of one of them because they prevent each other from attacking. So, really, really good card all around. He's easily the best Emperor, and it's easy to see why. So, yeah, he's also got the best solid, like, flat-out attack. He's 25-25, unlike Skill, who's 22, which is easy to run over, and then Granule has nothing, technically speaking. So, like, if your opponent impermanences Granule, he goes down to 0, which does suck. So, yeah, generally speaking, I recommend 2 to 3 YgoAmino and, like, 2 Granule or 1 Granule. And it comes down to people's personal preferences and opinions, but YgoAmino is by far the best. Then we got Meklord Emperor YgoAmino Synchro Absorption. I am very confused about this card. So it's a level 1 Dark Machine Effect monster, 2500 attack, 2500 defense. Clearly meant to be a YgoAmino retrain or alternate form, kind of. You know, it's supposed to be him after he sucked up Stardust in the anime. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be spell summoned by its own effect. During your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can send one face-up Meklord monster you control to the graveyard. Spell summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect of Emperor YgoAmino Synchro Absorption once per turn. If this card is spell summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls. It cannot declare an attack for the rest of this turn. When a card or effect is activated that will destroy a card or cards on the field, quick effect, you contribute this card and negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So obviously he's got like Stardust effect kind of, and then he's easy to summon because during your opponent's turn just send a dude to the graveyard, spell summon him, and then you get to make something your opponent controls not be able to attack. I have 2 big issues with this. Okay, first and foremost, you gotta neg yourself to summon him. Okay, and it doesn't destroy. Why does it not say you can target one face-up Meklord you control, destroy it, spell summon this card? Why does it not say that? Because then you could summon, like, Granule during your opponent's turn, YgoAmino during your opponent's turn, Skill during your opponent's turn. Why can't you do that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And then, on top of that, if you do use this effect, which is pretty much a carbon copy of Stardust effect, you don't get him back. You do not get him back. Stardust comes back at the end phase. This thing does not. Okay, so once he goes to the graveyard, once you use that negation, you don't get him back. So you neg yourself twice to use you neg yourself to do its first effect, and then you neg yourself a second time to do its second effect. That is garbage. Why does he not come back? Why can he not be special summoned by any other card effects? Well, just what is the point of this card? Okay, I'm all for getting more Emperors or retrains of the original Emperors, but this is not the way to do it. It doesn't even do anything to synchros or extract monsters. It just copied Stardust effect, which, I mean, is cool for anime fans and stuff because you get to see it in a card now. But like, this thing doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for the deck. It doesn't do anything for its playstyle or in contribution to summoning more Emperors. It doesn't do anything. It just, you send a dude, get a 2500 beater, and prevent something from being able to attack, then, oh, hey, your opponent activates Regeki, cool, I contribute, and then I lose my Synchro Absorption. And since Meklords can't really spam out monsters very easily, at least until, like, later on, like, they can, but it takes a bit to get going, or unless you open the field spell, or search it out with, like, terraforming. This is just not good. It's not good. Don't play it, please. If you insist on playing it, play one. It's not good. Oh boy, now let's start talking about the Astros, where we get into even more not so great stuff. Meklord Astro Dragon Asterisk. Really cool, like, name, really cool design. It's hard to tell with, like, the shininess on here, but he looks, like, really, really cool, and we'll see him in more artwork later on. But anyways, he's a level 10 Dark Machine Effect monster. 0 attack, 0 defense. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must first be spell summoned from your hand by controlling 3 or more Meklord monsters. When this card is spell summoned, you can target any number of Meklord monsters you control, except this card. Send those targets to the graveyard. And if you do, this card's attack becomes the combined original attack of the monsters sent to the graveyard. This thing can get so beefy. Each time a synchro monster is spell summoned, inflict 1000 damage to your desummoning player. So, Meklord Astro Dragon Asterisk is a weird card. You have to have 3 of your Meklords on the field to be able to summon him, which isn't the easiest thing to do. You can do it. The easiest way to do it is to activate their field spell, spell summon a dude, then like normal summon Obligado, destroy himself, spell summon 2 more dudes, and then you can summon Asterisk. And then you can get pretty beefy. I mean, heck, if you send the 3 original armies, he goes up to, what, 4,600? Which is a pretty good amount of attack power. And then also he has a random burn effect, which punishes your opponent for as well as synchro summoning. So, Dragon Asterisk is an interesting card. And, hey, also sending those 3 dudes to the graveyard allows you to load up your graveyard for the good Astro Dragon, Triskelion, who we will talk about here shortly. And I like that. This is a really interesting card. I kind of want to tinker around with it, but at the same time, I also don't really want to bother with it because you got to neg yourself so hard to summon it, and then it's only really good if you have Triskelion to follow up in your hand, and it can set up for an OTK, but it's just not... It's not particularly worth it, in all honesty, because more than likely you're going to summon him, try to use his effect, your opponent's going to negate it with like an effect failure, and then you're going to, well, lose your 3 monsters. Or even better yet, they're going to be mean to you, let you send your other stuff, and then as you go into battle phase, effect failure, negate Asterisk goes back down to 0. So yeah, it's just something not really worth considering. There is another Astro monster that is kind of worth considering a lot more than Astro Dragon Asterisk, but it just sucks because this thing has such a cool art. I love it. It's so cool looking. Oh boy. Next up, we got the good Astro Dragon, Meklord Astro Dragon Triskelion. Oh god, everything's got to have a 3-headed dragon. I love it. This thing looks so cool. So, this is Meklord Astro Dragon Triskelion. He's a level 10, 3k attack, 0 defense, machine, dark. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be spell summoned from your hand by banishing 3 Meklord monsters with different names from your graveyard. Once per turn, when this card declares an attack, you can look at your opponent's extract and equip one monster from it to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined attack of those monsters. While equipped with a synchro monster, this card can attack up to 3 monsters during each battle phase. So, this thing is how you do Meklords right, okay? So he can steal your opponent's monsters without even having to wait for them to be summoned. So, oh, you know you're dueling against somebody who's going to be playing synchros. Attack, look at your opponent's extra deck, You get to steal any of their monsters. And it doesn't even have to be synchros, it can be any of them. This is how you do it right. You give it to where they can equip anything, but then give them a bonus effect if they steal a synchro. I like that. Do that, Konami. Make more Meklords like this, where they can steal any extract monster, but however they get bonus effects if they steal a synchro. With Skielingtons, he gets to attack 3 times. I like that. This is a really good boss monster. And because you can steal stuff before it even gets on the field, you can steal your opponent's like big boss monsters so easily. For instance, when I was playtesting this deck, I attacked a dude and he had Dragoon in his extra deck, but he didn't have a way to make Anaconda yet, so I stole the Dragoon. I did not have to worry about a Dragoon for the rest of the game. So that is something that is really, really good and makes him super awesome. Not to mention the easy summoning condition. Just 3 Meklords in your graveyard with different names. We already talked about one way to easily load it up, but there's another way as well. And then there's just general other easy ways to do it. Hey, Obligato does it himself. Normal summon Obligato. Effect, destroy himself. Spell summon 2 dudes from your deck. Link into, I don't know, Union Carrier or any of your other machine links. Boom! You got 3 in your graveyard right there. You know what I mean? So this thing is really good. He's the true main boss monster of Meklords at the moment, and you definitely play 3 of him. Oh boy, I love it. He's so cool. And then we got their original final boss monster, Meklord Astro Mechan-Kyle. Or sorry, Mechan-Eichel? Mechan-Eichel? I always called him Mechan-Kyle. Mechan-Kyle. That's what I've always called him. But I just realized it's Mechan-Eichel. Oh, it's supposed to be Michael. It's supposed to be a play on the... I think it's supposed to be a play on the name Michael. You know, like the angel Michael, but I don't know. Anyways, Meklord Astro Mechan-Eichel. Level 12 light machine effect monster. 4k attack, 4k defense. Cannot be normal summoner set. Must be special summoned from hand by sending 3 Meklord monsters from your hand to the graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can target 1 synchro monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined attack of the equipped monsters by this effect. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can send one of those equipped monsters you control to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. So this thing is really interesting. He has an easier summoning condition than Asterisk, mainly because you just rely on your hand advantage to, well, summon him. You do have to neg yourself 3 to summon him, but it also instantly loads up your graveyard for Astro Dragon, Skielingtons. So it's not the worst thing in the world, and this thing per Skielingtons is like almost an OTK, if not right out an OTK, because when Skielingtons attacks, you'll get to steal something out of your opponent's extract, which is really good. That being said, though, this thing is definitely a win more card for the most part. He has the standard Emperor effect where he gets to steal stuff and gets more attack, so there's that too. My only real issue with this is that he doesn't do much with the monsters he summons. That Granule does more with the stuff that he steals. This guy, you just send it to burn, which I think was something in the anime that the main antagonist wanted to do to like make it so Yusei had to take all the damage of all of his friends' dragons and stuff. I don't know. It was something like, oh, I'm making your monsters attack you, ha ha ha. It's just basically a dick move, to put it simply. And it's really not something you need for a real card in, well, real Yu-Gi-Oh! So it doesn't do much. Once he gets on the field, he's really just basically a 4k beater that you neg yourself 3 to summon. Which you can say a lot about with the God cards, too. It's that this thing's easier to summon than the God cards, I would argue. Personally speaking, I like him as a one-of, just simply because he's an easy to summon boss monster who can pop out of nowhere and win a game relatively easily. That being said, I totally get why some people would not want to play this. He is not the greatest thing in the world, and he doesn't make for a particularly great boss monster. Skielingtons is a real boss monster at the end of the day, but he pairs well with Skielingtons, which I like, and I don't know, I like it when stuff pairs well together. Next up, let's get on to the spells and traps. First and foremost, of Boon of the Meklord Emperor. Normal spell card. If the only face-up monsters on the field are 2 Meklord monsters, draw 2 cards. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. Oh boy. So, if the only monsters on the field are 2 Meklords, you get to draw 2 cards. Not once per turn on this either. If you have all 3 in your hand, you can draw 6 cards right there. That is really cool. I like that. What I don't like is that it is totally reliant on the only monsters being on the field are exactly 2 Meklord monsters. You have to have exactly 2 Meklord monsters. There can be nothing else. You can have face-down monsters, but you have to have exactly 2 face-up Meklord monsters. And the instant your opponent gets a monster on the field, this card is dead. You can't use it. So this card is generally not well liked because of that, and you can get away with playing 1 or 2 of it, especially now that it's searchable thanks to good old Nucleus, which is pretty cool. I mean, hey, having a searchable pot of greed is nice, but however, it's just because of its weird activation requirement that it just doesn't really seem worth it a lot. If you're gonna play it, play like 1 or 2 of it. I don't recommend playing full 3 just because it's gonna be dead a lot, and you're gonna oftentimes finding yourself discarding it with, oh wait, it's not coming up yet. with the next card, I think, or one of the upcoming cards. Anyway, so Reboot, not a Meklord card. Right off the bat, I hate that. It's not a Meklord card in the name, but it is a Meklord card in effect. Shuffle 1 Meklord monster from your hand into the deck, then target 1 Meklord card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So, right off the bat, you gotta neg yourself with this card. You're negging 1, okay? Because you're using 1 card, you're activating this card, and then you're sending another dude back into your deck to do its towards cost, and then you get back 1 card from your graveyard. Okay, so you neg yourself 1 to be able to actually be able to do anything. That being said, you can grab back any of your Meklord cards, so it can be your Meklord monster, spell, traps, whatever. It doesn't say Meklord monster, which is really nice. That being said, there wasn't really any good targets for it back in the day, except for the monsters, but now there's like a bunch of really good spell and trap cards. So I don't know, I'm very iffy on it. I don't recommend playing it, in all honesty. Maybe if the deck gets more ways of recovery and searching and stuff. My biggest thing is that this thing doesn't have Meklord in the name, so you can't search it. I guess they didn't put Meklord in the name, so you can't grab it, but then you could just put it in the effect that you can't grab Meklord Reboot. So, yeah, I don't recommend playing this card. Next up, we got the new spell, well, one of the 2 new spells. Meklord Deflection, quick play spell card. Target 1 Meklord monster you control. Your opponent takes no battle damage from attacks involving that face-up monster until the end of this turn. Also, its attack becomes permanently the combined original attack of all Meklord monsters you can currently control. If a Meklord monster or monsters you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only activate 1 Meklord Deflection per turn. This card is pretty good. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but however, being able to protect one of your Meklords and boost them up to a stupid margin is really nice. So, like, one of my favorite things is, well, to do as it shows in the artwork. Set it, opponent tries to attack over a Meklord, flip it up, it gains a crap ton of attack power, and then next turn you're supposed to be able to, well, attack directly with it. Of course, you can also just discard it for fodder and stuff like that to be able to use its graveyard effect to protect your Meklords. And that's the bigger thing, honestly, in my opinion, is that because, well, Meklords don't have a lot of protection or negation. Really, the only negation they have is Weisel and arguably his Synchro Absorb form, but really that's not much that the deck has to go off of, so I personally do recommend maybe playing 1 or 2 copies of Deflection just to help protect your dudes. Next up, we got the Resolute Meklord Army. It's a continuous spell card. All attack position Meklord Army monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, their effects are negated. If it just had the first line of text, it'd be good. Like, better at least. But it also negates their effects. This card was nice to play back in the day for the deck. Just simply because, well, it'd keep your stuff alive, and there wasn't a lot of back row destruction, and you can, you know, keep on using your dudes, and hopefully get them to be able to be destroyed by a card effect in order to summon one of the Emperors. And that's the whole point of it, is to get them destroyed by a card effect in order to summon one of the Emperors. However, a few issues. The negation of their effects is just permanent while it's out, okay? So, you can't use their effects to help out with the Emperors. It's directly contrary to what the armies were made to do. The armies are meant to supplement the Emperors. Okay, like for instance, the Weisel army giving one of your Emperors piercing. Granul being able to half a monster's attack power. Obligato being able to destroy himself to summon out 2 more armies. You can't do any of that while the Resolute Meklord Army is out on the field unless you have them in defense. Which means if you normal summon them, you can't do anything until the next turn with them, which is insane. So this card is directly contrary to what the deck wants to do. Heck, you can't even use Meklord Army Granul's effect because his effect is only on normal summons. So Yeah, don't play this card. It's garbage. And then we got their good continuous spell card, Meklord Assembly. Funnily enough, this features Meklord Army of Granule, and this features just Emperor Granule. I just think that's cool. So Meklord Assembly, continuous spell card. When this card is activated, you can add one Meklord monster from your deck to your hand. Hey, there's that monster searcher. Really good, right off the bat. Play 3. You can only activate one of the following effects. You can only activate one Meklord Assembly. Why am I getting so... 1 points per turn. You can only use each of the following effects of Meklord Assembly once per turn. You can discard one card and target one monster you control, destroy it. If a face-up Meklord monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one other face-up spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. So, right off the bat, this card is made to help you get Skielington out, and also to get out one of your Emperors. Because you discard a dude, so basically you search out a dude, like for instance, Nucleus, okay? You then summon Nucleus, you get to search out a card, let's just say Deflection, just make it easy. Okay, then you activate the effect of Assembly to discard Deflection, so now you have your protection, or you discard another monster, and then you destroy Nucleus, then you can summon an Emperor from your hand, Nucleus effect to summon another Emperor from deck, boom! Just very, very, very simple. And then also Assembly will get to, well, pop a spell or trap card that is on the field, which is pretty cool, because then you can destroy your opponent's field spells, and continuous traps, and all that fun stuff. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not the greatest thing in the world with that. But, however, you still play 3 because it searches out a Meklord monster just right off the bat. There's no reason not to play 3 of it just for that. Then we got Meklord Fortress. One of this deck's 2 field spells. Oh boy. Meklord Emperor monsters you control cannot be targeted by the effects of synchro monsters. Okay, that's totally irrelevant in 2020. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add one Meklord Emperor from your deck to your hand. So this card does have a cool interaction with Assembly, in that if you use Assembly's effect to destroy something, and then you get to special summon a dude, or, well, you know, do your stuff with that, Assembly will then also be able to destroy Fortress, and Fortress will get to search out an Emperor. I like that little gimmick there, but it requires too much setup, and also Fortress doesn't do much. Like, it just sits there and protects your Emperors from being targeted by synchro effects, but that doesn't do much in 2020, especially when the only synchros people play are synchros that negate stuff, pretty much. So I just don't see a point in this. Don't play it, please. Then we got Fortissimo, the Mobile Fortress. Now, this is a field spell I can get around with. This is a field spell. Once per turn, you can spell summon one Meklord Army monster from your hand. That's the only thing it does. But, however, it just summons one of your dudes for free once a turn, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot. So, it just helps with the swarming aspect of Meklords, which is something that they don't have. So, I do recommend playing 1 or 2 copies of this, along with Terraforming, to be able to search it out, because it doesn't have Meklord in the name, so you can't search it out with Nucleus, but it is a pretty good card all around for the deck. I wish it did more, like maybe like protect your armies, or give them bonus effects or something, I don't know. But hey, it's nice to have that special summoning. Onto the trap cards, we got Meklord Factory. Normal trap card, when a Meklord monster on the field is targeted for an attack, target one army in your graveyard, just add that target to your hand, then destroy the attack target. Okay, so, your opponent's attacking one of your dudes, activate Factory, target Obligato, add it to your hand, then destroy your monster that you have that was being attacked. Effective Emperor in hand, special summon it. I get it, that's the whole point of what this thing does. But it's just too slow for modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's probably going to get destroyed or negated beforehand, and it's just not good. Don't play it, please. It does look really nice as a super, I will be honest. Meklord Astro the Eradicator. Okay, right off the bat, this should have been a monster name, like, because Meklord Astro the Eradicator, that sounds like a monster name, and it just sounds super, super cool. And I think it's supposed to be Asterisk winding up his attack or something, or like about to like suck up the other 3 to gain their attack powers, which is pretty cool and is just a nice little callback to what Asterisk does. And funnily enough, this card sets up Asterisk too. Target 3 Meklord monsters with different names in your graveyard. Add them to your hand or special summon them, ignoring their summoning conditions until the end of your next turn after this card is activated. You cannot special summon monsters except machine monsters. If you control a Meklord Astro monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy one synchro monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. You can only use each effect of Meklord Astro the Eradicator once per turn. So you pretty much can just ride out that entire last effect because it just won't ever pop up except for like once in a blue moon, which is pretty cool when it does, just because it's kind of cool that you actually do get to use it. But the main thing here is that you get to just summon 3 dudes from your graveyard or add them to your hands. This is a huge, like, just recursion effect. I love it. Sets up Asterisk, and also sets up a bunch of Link and Synchro play. Well, not Synchro, but Link and Exceeds plays, and all that fun stuff. It makes it easier to OTK, and it's just a really good card. You can grab back your Emperors, your Skielingtons, your other Astros, all that cool stuff. Play 1 to 2 of this. It's not the greatest thing in the world, maybe 3 in like certain builds, but personally for me, I'm playing 2, and it's been working pretty good. It is searchable off a nucleus, so there's that. So yeah. Moving on, we got Chaos Infinity. Why is this not a Meklord card? Why do they have 1 spell and 1 trap that are not Meklord cards? Actually, they have 2 traps that are not Meklord cards. Oh god. So Chaos Infinity changes many defense position monsters on the field as possible to face up attack position. Then special summon 1 Meklord monster from your deck or graveyard, but its effects are negated. Also, it's destroyed during the end phase. This card used to be pretty decent back in the day just because they did not have any other options. It is not worth playing nowadays, especially when you got some stuff that won't ever even be in defense nowadays. Oh boy, Mech Time Blast. It's basically an Icarus attack. Target a Meklord monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls, and destroy them. Interesting and good disruption. I like it, because it can then trigger one of your Emperor's effects in your hand to special summon. My issue with this comes in the fact that this is not a Meklord card. If this was a Meklord card, this would be a lot better, because then it's searchable. I mean, just imagine this. Searching out this with like Nucleus, setting it, and then setting like a deflection and like some other stuff. Your opponent goes, they try to do something, Mech Time Blast, target Nucleus, target your opponent's stuff, destroy it. Effective Nucleus, effective an Emperor in hand, or better yet, effective Nucleus, and then effective Wisel, effective Nucleus in graveyard. Special summon Wisel effect in hand, special summon. So now you get 2 Wisels out, negates 2 spells. So due to it not being a Meklord card, it's either only something you play 0 of or play 3 of. I don't recommend playing anything in between, like as a 1 or 2, because you're never gonna see it. So play 0 or play 3. It's just not worth playing, or it's worth playing at 3. Personally, I think it's not worth playing as much nowadays. So there's that. Finally, here is my little idea with the deck. Okay, this is my build so far. It still probably needs a bit more testing, but however, I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it's been working pretty good. So right off the bat, we got 1 Astro Mech and Kyle. As I said, I do like playing 1 of them, just for the extra synergy with good Ultra Skielingtons, which I'm playing 3 of. I got 2 of the worst of the Emperors, Wisel and Granule, just for names. Triple Obligato and triple Skiel, just simply to be able to get out my dudes faster, because Skiel can summon Obligato, and then Obligato needs all the targets he can get. Then we've loaded up on hand traps with 2 Ash, 2 Ogre, and 2 Effect Filler. Doing this, it really helps make the deck more of a control deck, which is what it is. It's a slow-paced control deck, and my god, did throwing these in help out the deck a lot. So yeah, it's very, very helpful. Play these. Then I got 2 Wisel, 1 Granule. Wisel, obviously, for his negation. Granule, because he's a big, beefy boy, so you can go for some big damage with them. And also, of course, hopefully get a double Wisel out turn 1, so you can negate 2 spells. And then you'll probably get rid of one of the Wisels for a Link Rebo whenever it swings back to your turn. Granule, of course, being here for just general beefiness. You can switch them out for a 3rd Wisel if you just want to play triple Wisel, or you can probably find something else to change out for a 3rd Wisel. I know some people like to play 3 Wisel, so it's just down to you. Then we got 3 Nucleus, kind of given, because it's just, well, Spell Searcher. Then I got 1 for 1. It helps load up the graveyard, because you can discard one of your Meklords, get a dude in your graveyard for Skielingtons, get out Nucleus to be able to search out your spells, and then, yeah, of course, gets you to Assembly to be able to, well, get another monster. Triple pot of, oh god, what is this called again? Extravagance, pot of Extravagance. Because, well, you don't really care for your extract, honestly. I think I've only ever made a few extract monsters, mainly Borg and Union Carrier, because you're locked into machines a lot, which kind of sucks. But hey, this is here for helping to draw. I completely dropped Boon. I tried it. It just cannot be triggered enough at times, so I'd rather have something I can activate reliably to be able to use it. Then we got one Called by the Grave, because Called by the Grave is at 1 for some stupid reason. Konami, please fix that. Put it to 3. Then we got Meklord Deflection at 2. It's helpful. Helps keep our dudes around for longer. Triple Assembly for obvious reasons. Double for TC mode to be able to special summon our armies a bit more. And then 2 of the Eradicator. Now for the extra deck, it's pretty much down to whatever you want. But I mainly recommend at least 2 Gear Gigant and one of the rank 4 Train. 2 Gear Gigant, because, well, you can search out everything in the deck. The rank 4 Train is a direct attacker, and, well, he can attack directly. That can be game sometimes. And then you got the, what is it called again? Phantom Beast, Mecha Phantom Beast or Aurodon, because, well, he's a machine. Pretty much just trying to play some utility stuff. And yeah, all the rest is just down to you and like what you personally think is going to happen. I do play 1 Gustav Max because sometimes my opponent won't die after 2 Triskelion attacks, so it's there just as extra help. These are the 2 cards I completely dropped. I don't recommend playing Skill or Absorption. I just never found either one of them useful. So that is it for the deck. What are my final general thoughts on it? The deck works okay as a control deck. There are better options out there, but if you like the anime and you really want to play Meklords, it's not bad as a control deck. But however, that being said, the deck really needs to be more of an anti-extract than it is an anti-synchro, which is something I think Konami can only fix with giving them new cards. I'd love a field spell or a continuous spell that says the Meklord Emperor or the Meklord effect to absorb. Like, you may take any monster special summon from the extract for the effect of a Meklord monster to equip a synchro monster. It'd be very convoluted, but I think they can do it. That'll just re-release more Emperors that do that inherently, where they can target any monster summoned from the extract. They really do need more Emperors and armies. I would love to see at least like 2 more armies that are really good to pair well with Ygopro. And I would really like to see another Emperor or 2, because the Emperors we do have, I mean, like, Granul's okay, Skill is bad, Weisel's good, Absorption Weisel is bad. We need better Emperors. I mean, it's kind of sad that the deck where the Emperors are like the main star, you're more focused on the Astro Dragon. So there's that. I would like to see another Astro monster just simply to kind of replace Astro Dragon Mechankyle, because we got the replacement for Asterisk with Triskelion, and I'd like to see another like angel-based one instead of a dragon-based one. I would also really like to see a better field spell. It's funny they have 2 field spells and both are just kind of okay. Well, one's garbage, one's kind of okay. And the deck does work well on its own or as a mix. I've seen people tinker around with trying out Meklord, what is it called? the deck that is Meklord Unchained. Yeah, it was Meklord Unchained. I had to pull up my notes. So, Meklord Unchained is something I've seen some people test around with because they're both destruction-based. The only issue is that Meklords have a lot of effects that prevent you from doing the Unchained stuff because you're stuck in a machine only, which does suck. So, that is it, guys. What do you guys think about Meklords? I will hopefully have a deck profile of it up soon. I kind of just gave my rough deck profile. This will probably be... This is it, but I want to show off combos and stuff. So, guys... Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See y'all later. Peace out and goodbye. Oh, and rate, comment, and subscribe, please. Everything helps out quite a bit. Thank you all for watching the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And see y'all later.